All right, we're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an stspod.club production. I'm BT, and that's my partner in crime, my brother from a different mother, RynoJB. How the hell are you?
Doing great. Another Saturday, another blessing from Memphis Wrestling, and what a show, BT.
I'm excited. This is week 83. 83. I cannot believe that. We always do the hits, the misses, MVP question of the week. We also have what do you look forward to next week and must see for the week. We're going to get started, but I want to mention something. I mentioned last week we were talking on a Saturday. I said we had a big crowd last night in Jackson, Tennessee, and I was all excited about it. I did not mention, because I don't usually watch any clips or anything while I'm preparing for the show, but they released a clip of Mike Anthony in a helicopter. Yes. He arrived at the fair in a helicopter. Guys, go to the Memphis Wrestling YouTube page. That is a must-see, okay? That is a must-see. Very professional. There's all kinds of what Flair did it once. Charlotte did it once. It was awesome. And when we bring Mike on, I'm going to bring Mike into the studio. He's going to sit right across from me, and we're going to talk about that. It's a very fun story about how that happened. So, hey, let's get started. Today's hits. What were today's hits, JB?
For me, I got to start with Colton Cage versus Will Allday. Almost got about a 15-minute match right there, BT, and went all over the place, inside the ring, outside the ring, fighting into the crowd. I thought all around it was a great match. Will Allday got the W in that one. It was a hit for me. We also saw Memphis Muscle versus LA Hustlers. What a win for the LA Hustlers, winning by countout. Right. Hey, but they beat them. They got the W. They're going home as winners. LA Hustlers winning by countout against Memphis Muscle, but Memphis Muscle going out there to the parking lot, getting attacked by the posse. Simon showing no love, man. What is going on with the posse here? We also saw Trace Lee Hunt versus Jason Genesis. Jason Genesis getting a W with the help of Goddess. Man, I'm interested in this right here. With that interference, I'm hoping we get another match, maybe a rivalry amongst these two. We might have one of the best rivalries in Memphis Wrestling on our hands right there with that one. We saw another promo from Big Ben Bishop. Big Ben Bishop. When he comes back, he's putting boots to faces, is what I'm seeing, man. That's a big dude, BT. I think that Big Ben Bishop brings, not just with his size, but his presence and his aggression in that ring. Man, he is a true threat to that Memphis Heritage Championship. We also saw Derek King get a huge win over Van Vicious, and it looked like Ray didn't want to hit that 3, but he ended up hitting that 1, 2, 3, giving Derek King the win. Those are my hits this week. And also Teddy Long on commentary. Player. It was absolutely fantastic. Those are my hits.
I mean, piggyback almost everything you said there. Cage versus Will Allday, really good match. When he first came out with the bandages on his ribs, I was like, oh, he's going to lose, because that's the way it usually happens. But no, he actually won it really good. Real good little, just real quick video piece with A-Rob. It keeps him in the mix. I love the Austin Lane interview, and we'll talk about that later, about what I'm looking forward to next week. LA Hustlers getting a win against Memphis Muscle. A big fan of both of those guys. Parking lot. So we're going to keep Posse and Memphis Muscle going, and I kind of like that because, you know, the Posse had the tag team titles for a while, and they're mad because they lost them. So we're going to keep that feud going. I love the video. They did not the same video, but they did a video very similar to this last year about Dyer County and the Dyersburg and the history of Dyersburg. And they had all the guys in just babyface role. We had Hollywood Jimmy talking about how important Dyersburg was to him, and everybody talking about how the history of Dyersburg wrestling. That is something I've been thinking about doing. We may do a history of Dyersburg wrestling. All of these guys coming out of Dyersburg. And the main event, DK versus Vicious. DK, the whole story was around what's Ray going to do, what's Ray going to do. And Ray went right down the line. So does this mean that Ray's out of the clique now and he's back to just being a normal referee, or what's going to happen? Vicious and DK having good chemistry again, and that super kick, a big hit for the super kick. Very, very well done match. And the match was real good in telling the story. It was all about Ray Ray. The match was, and it really was supposed to be about DK, but it really was about Ray Ray. So it really good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, that was our hits for the week. How about you, Rhino misses?
With my misses, I gotta say, as besides no women's matches, you know me, I gotta have my women's matches. But besides that, no misses. I mean, it's looking like Carmelo Hayes.
You know, you said something as a hit, and it was kind of a miss for me. I'm a fan of Genesis and a fan of Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's happened, but the last couple of matches that Hunt has had, he seems to be, and I know they only got a few minutes, but he seems to be too much in a hurry. And I know I sound like an old school, back in my day.
Slow it
down. But I think that with just a little bit of tweaking, a little bit more psychology, and just a little bit of slowing down, Hunt is going to be just really, really good. Genesis goes at a regular pace. I love the idea of him going over, kissing his valet there after every good move. I love that stuff. So, but yeah, that was my only miss for the week right there. All right, that was our misses. This past week we had for the main feed, the best of the best. We looked at a John Cena versus Ziggler match. It is fun. It is fun. If you subscribe to Patreon, you'll actually be able to watch the video as we watch it. So it's pretty awesome. This coming this week, my buddy Lance Levine with the Record Store. All right, our MVP of the week. Who is your MVP of the week, Rhino?
My MVP this week is Derek King, getting rid of the Hollywood clique. What's next for him? Any titles in his future? Look, a legend in his own right. Future Heritage Champion could be.
Oh, my MVP of the week, Derek the King. Come on, you got to get it right, JB. Derek the King, with the crown and everything. He's back as is he going to be a good guy now? He's going to be that baby. Who knows? Derek may be going after the belt next. So we always like Derek on the show, and this was the end of a storyline that we had to have this ending. Just put it that way. That was a go home, we're happy moment at the end. So MVP of the week is Derek King. All right, guys, we're up to question of the week, and JB, you're not going to believe it. The question of the week is for you and I this week. So not Sleazy, he's taking a week off, so here we go. Question of the week. All right, question of the week. It's from Twitchy901. I think someone's been listening to us. Twitchy901. I've heard BT talk about being a manager and doing a wrestling site. I've been watching JB on doing videos of Tony Nese and others on his Twitch channel and expanding his content. This is a really good question. Thank you, Twitchy. 2 questions. What else do either one of you want to accomplish when it comes to wrestling? And who is the one person you want to interview? I'll go with you, JB. What else do you want to accomplish in wrestling? And who's the one person you want to interview?
Man, in all honesty, I never thought I would do all this in wrestling. For me, wrestling was never a gig. It was never a profession or anything I thought would be a part of besides being a fan. I am so thankful to be a part of this podcast. I am so thankful to be able to go to the Wrestle Center. There's streaming on Twitch. I do a bit of commentary, and going up to the Wrestle Center, Dustin and the students even, they all give feedback on the commentary that I can practice to do there. Just doing that is a dream come true for me. So anything that Memphis Wrestling would ask me to do or would want me to do is what I would want to do. Anything that could help Memphis Wrestling would be the next thing I would want to do. But shout out to the entire team. I honest to God, like commentary, I love to do, but man, I just enjoy watching this program. I enjoy being a fan. I enjoy doing what we do here, calling the action on this podcast, working with you. Hey, BT, maybe you and me can call a match one day.
I like that idea. I really do.
I like
really
that one.
do.
That's what I want to do.
There you go, Dustin. There you go. There you go. And who would you like to interview, man? Who are you missing? Who's that one person in the business that you would love to sit down and pick their brain? I'm gonna let you think of it.
Off the top of the head, Dustin.
Dustin. Oh,
yeah, wow, because he's worked with so many people. He's like, I've had so many.
I talked to Dustin too much, so no.
Shooting Star is amazing. Shooting Star answers a lot of my questions. If you haven't already, make sure you get the Patreon and get on Shooting Star. But Dustin, he's the first person that comes to mind. He's worked with so many people in so many different ways, and he's done so many different things when it comes to not just wrestling but entertainment. And
guys, y'all, I mean, if you wanted to go through, and I'm gonna plug myself, stspod.club, just do a search, Dustin Star, and he's got a bunch of free interviews. But the Shooting Star, man, guys, that is just $5 on Patreon.
Yes.
So I'm gonna answer the question. Two things. I love what we're doing right now. I love doing this thing with Memphis Wrestling. I love doing the podcast. Not only this podcast, but I did this before these 83 weeks. I did my own podcast, so I enjoy doing that. I used to be a manager and I traveled. I don't enjoy the traveling anymore. I make jokes about not wanting to go outside. It's one of those things. I really want to, just expand my content in the sense that I'll make different things for stspod.club. But I loved your idea, JB. I guess one of my bucket list was I would love to have been on Memphis Wrestling, which our faces have already been on Memphis Wrestling, which is cool. But just sitting down at the desk, either with you or Dustin or Maria, whoever, and just calling a match. I think that's one of the only things I can think that I would love to accomplish when it comes to wrestling. And when the one person I'd like to interview, and I've been around a lot of people in the business that are, I guess, very important to the business right now. So I I'm not starstruck is the best way to say it. The one guy I'd love to sit down and talk Memphis wrestling with is, and I'm going to the top, buddy, is The Rock. And that's the one person I would love to sit down and us just talk about Memphis wrestling, and they're filming The Young Rock right now, and he's in Memphis, the Memphis area. I would love to sit down and just ask him about Memphis wrestling. All right, guys, that was Question of the Week. All right, JB, we're at. What do you want to see on next week's show?
Next week, big plans for Will Allday. In his talk there with Dustin Starr, he mentioned that Teddy Long wanted to put him in a title match, but he didn't want to go about it that way. So next week, I'm wondering what's next for Will Allday.
Yeah, excited about that. What I'm really excited about is I love the way they write these shows in the sense that we do have an end to the story. We still don't know what happened to that one guy. What was his name? He's still missing. I can't.
Yeah.
Matt Williams and Austin Lane in a bull rope match. They're tied together. So it will be fun. Austin, this is totally different than what he does. I just, it's so exciting to watch Austin at this stage of his career, because you got a guy that when he first started, he was just this huge high flyer. He did all kinds of crazy Jeff Hardy type stuff. And then he toned it down. He become an accomplished wrestler. He can go. But then you see him going back to these, when you're at Newport, he always likes to do a hardcore match, and you see that kind of stuff. But now we're going to see him in a bull rope match, so should be fun. All right, buddy, we're up to it. What is your must-see for the week?
My must-see this week is going to be Memphis Muscle versus LA Hustlers with the interference of the Posse there. I think everybody needs to tune into the tag team scene. You and I have been fans of the tag team scene of Memphis Wrestling since day one, and here we are. Man, it's still as exciting as ever. You have a bit of a dream team there with Memphis Muscle. And not only that, you see LA Hustlers getting that W. They're getting more matches every week on Memphis Wrestling. I'm interested to see what happens with them as well.
All right, must see for me. I want to go with the first match, as you said, about 15 minutes. Cage and All Day. Every time I see Cage in the ring and doing a match, I can see him as champion. I can see him coming out, wearing his robe and the belt strapped around his waist, and him talking about no one can beat him and blah blah blah. We seen a really good promo from this guy. In the middle of everything, all of a sudden he does good promos. Solid wrestler, heel, does the dance, the whole 9 yards. It's all wrapped up in this match. My must see for the week: Colton Cage versus All Day. All right, guys, join us next week on Saturday at 1 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, I love my mama.
Me too.